If a player went from being a garbage man to being the toughest NBA player of all time and one of the best players ever. What is up, dudes, dudettes, ballers, players? It's your boy MJ. We are less than 100 away from hitting 2,000 subs. Thank you for all the support. Let's try to get to 2,000 by the end of this week. I know we can do it because we got the best community on YouTube. That's facts. Also, there's a giveaway running right now, so check it out for your chance to win sneakers, NBA 2K18, and basketball. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about Larry Bird and why he is the toughest player of all time. Larry Bird has thought to be one of the best trash talkers in NBA history and has also gotten into so many fights. He hated interviews and hated being in the spotlight. But why? Larry Bird grew up in an area near a town called French Lick in Indiana. A lot of NBA players have had rough childhoods, but Larry Bird's childhood was something else. His family barely met scraps meat and were struggling to survive. One bad week and they wouldn't have food on their table. Larry Bird was the fourth of 6 children, but Larry Bird's father, Joe Bird, always had a tight relationship to Larry. Larry Bird was always his favorite, but Joe was an alcoholic. Family issues led to a divorce, and Larry's mom worked 2 jobs to support him and his siblings. Talk about being rough. Larry always had basketball. Once he realized he was actually good at it, he kept playing day and night in hopes of making the most out of it, because Larry had always worked hard. At a young age, he was working in the fields, doing errands, and just doing anything to help his family survive. His high school stardom rose as he averaged 30 points and 20 rebounds per game. Keeping the strong sense of home and community, he decided to go to Indiana University, but he dropped out because he felt a lack of emotion. Afterwards, he entered a junior college, but dropped out again from there as well. It seemed as if his basketball career was pretty much over. He was not playing basketball, he wasn't concerned about playing basketball, he just gave it up. He began driving a garbage truck to support his daughter after his short marriage ended in a divorce. Again, talk about being rough. Still, Larry Bird loved the hard work. He felt like he was helping the community, even if it was being a garbage man. Then, tragedy struck. His father had committed suicide because he felt useless and unable to contribute to child support. Larry Bird had remained close to his father even after the divorce, but he felt betrayed and simply took all the emotions he had and just held it within. He wouldn't really talk to anyone, he would just be quiet, do whatever he needed to do, and just be tough. The man was just built with a different mold. This inspired Larry Bird to go to Indiana State to try basketball one more time. He turned the whole program around. Now we all know he got drafted by the Celtics and that he became one of the greatest players ever, always leaving everything on the court, trash talking with the best of them, and had multiple fights, like the one with Dr. J when he told Dr. Dre to retire. Talk about being savage. But I'm not just focusing on that, because many legends have always been able to trash talk, been able to get into their opponent's head, but that is not what made Larry Bird tough. That was just one of the factors. Larry Bird has had his deal of injuries, like his bone spurs that required surgery, but none were as bad as his back. Of course Larry Bird would injure his back redoing his driveway in French Lick. Of course he would be the one redoing his own driveway, even though he's an NBA star. We have seen the infamous Larry Bird lying down during games. It was because of his back. His surgeon would later remark that he had no idea how Bird played through with his back. There were days in which Bird could not even walk or stand, but somehow he kept playing for years, always diving for the ball and giving it his all. His back was so bad that it was a miracle that he was able to walk. Ruptured disc, degenerating disc, you name it, Bird had it. But that's what made him so tough. His injuries didn't stop him from playing the game that he loved, or from averaging 24 points per game, or from being a leader. He always had the same intensity, always fought, even with these injuries. Bird doesn't think he'll live to 75 because of his back and his enlarged heart. Again, somehow all the bad things happened to Larry Bird. But a man that went through struggling to surviving, being a garbage man, a horrible back, I have no doubt that Larry Bird is the toughest player in league history, and he could do anything if he puts his mind to it. Comment down below who you think the toughest player